It's good for us to be here, Peter declares, when he sees his friend Jesus for who he really is, in all his belovedness, in all his glory. Up to this point, even Jesus' closest buddy, Peter, only knew him as a dusty, footsore Galilean peasant like himself, whose words were mesmerizing all the same. But here on this hilltop, where Jesus turns his face toward all that he will suffer in the coming days in Jerusalem, they see him briefly in his majesty, in his blessedness, in his splendor, the way that maybe we should always see each other and don't. Sometimes we don't see a thing till we see it. Isn't that true? Sometimes we don't see a thing that was always there until suddenly we see it, and then we can't unsee it. We didn't see it maybe because we were too busy seeing the things we expected to see, or too busy seeing the things we wanted to see. Sometimes we catch glimpses of the belovedness in each other and in ourselves, and in this big mysterious world all around us. All too often then, the clouds do come rolling back in as they do in the reading, and in time we forget that fleeting vision. But if we could hold fast to those visions, they would give us strength for the days ahead. And poor bumbling Peter, all he can say is, "It's good for us to be here." And he's right, it's good to be there, to be present, because we can really only see each other and ourselves and the world as they truly are when we are present to them. And we are so rarely present. Have you ever realized one day that you had been looking at something for years and never seeing it? Or someone for years and never really knowing who they were? I had to throw this in because my best friend from college is an assistant scout executive and COO. I had to look it up on his website, for a scouting council down in Mississippi. He's from California, but life will take you places. We still get together every year or two, and we usually do a backpacking trip. 10 years ago, when we were both in our mid-40s, he started talking to me about the birds he had seen. Birds. Scarlet tanagers, indigo buntings, the difference between crows and ravens. I did not want to hear this. I made fun of him. Seriously, you're going to talk to me about birds? We used to go to U2 concerts. We heard Green Day live in Dallas. We drove a 76 Chrysler across the country. I am not talking about birds. No way, we're not that old yet. Do not speak to me of chickadees. And I held fast to that position for years. But a few years ago, I noticed a really cool bird. It was wearing a robe just like mine. It was all black, but it had a red patch and a yellow patch right beneath it. This bird was wearing shoulder pads, epaulettes, as they call them. And then I noticed that bird wasn't alone. There was a whole flock of these birds. They looked like some weird avian army in their epaulettes. And I was fascinated. How did I never notice these creatures before that I was sharing the world with? Intelligent, amazing, beautiful creatures. I'd seen birds all my life, but I just never noticed until I did. Now everything I got for Christmas and for my birthday was about birds. It was ornithological. Bird books, a bird puzzle, a bird feeder that you have to charge like a cell phone because it takes automatic pictures and it identifies the birds that come to eat at your feeder. It's called Bird Buddy. And now I feed them and I sit watching them, and it's better than any movie, even though it has no plot. And I get excited when I see a new kind of bird at my feeder. And now I have a bird app. And I keep a list of the birds that I've seen. And it makes me wonder, what other joys in life have I not been taking advantage of because I just wouldn't look at them? Because I just wouldn't attend to them. I wouldn't pay any attention to them. I didn't see them. What joys am I missing because I never bothered? And because I mocked the people who did see them. I mocked them and dismissed them. I mean, even just the snowy day when church was canceled, the street in front of my house is always too busy, but for the first time in 15 years, I took a walk down that street because there was no traffic with all the snow. And I met neighbors that I had never met before because the snow brought us all together. And I saw their homes that I had never noticed before because I go 40 in a 35 right past them. How much is there out there that we're just not seeing, just not enjoying? But it's for us to be enjoyed, to be noticed, to be shared. It's good for us to be here, Peter declares. When he sees Jesus momentarily for everything that Jesus is, in all his belovedness and glory. And maybe Jesus gave them this vision right before Holy Week, right before what we call the season of Lent, and all that he would suffer, to give them strength to get through the dark days ahead. It's good for us to be here, Peter says. But we're not always here, are we? Sometimes we're very checked out in our own lives. How present are we in our own lives? How present are we to the people who love us, who would love to spend time with us? How present are we? How tuned in are we to what's going on with them? How well do we notice the pain and the beauty and the wonders of the world around us? And you here today, it might not feel like it, and yet again it might. But it's good for you to be exactly where you are in life today. Everything in your life brought you to this point. In whatever moment you find yourself, in whatever circumstances that haunt you, in whatever relationships that make up your days, in whatever body you inhabit, it's good to be here. In this moment, in this hour, in this set of circumstances, and maybe even entanglements. What you're feeling this day, whatever your life is in these years, and in this time in the life of our world, and in this passing season in the life of your family, it is good to be present, good to be here, whether we see that with perfect clarity or not. You know, the years just keep coming, and the moments of clarity are not every day, but it's good to be here and to know it. Let us be more truly present to each other, and to ourselves, and to God, and to the beauty of God's world, and to the belovedness in our strangers, in our neighbors and strangers. You know, the problem is there's just so much stuff in our lives. There is so much stuff in our lives that it keeps us from being present in the moment that we're given. Present to the people we love, present to strangers, present to God, present to ourselves. And on top of that, worry and regret steal from us the fleeting moment that we hold briefly in our hands. It makes me sad. I saw it on Valentine's Day. It makes me sad when I see a couple at the next table in the restaurant. They're out on the town to be together. And what are they doing? You know exactly what they're doing. They're looking at their phones. And they're not talking to the very person that they're out on the town to be with. What could possibly be happening on Instagram that is better than being in the presence of a person who cares about you and who knows you and who wants to hear about your life? What artificial experience are we looking for on these smartphones? I even have mine right here in the pulpit. What are we looking for that's better than a genuine in-the-flesh encounter with another human being who has knowledge and memories and passions that we do not, or that we do, that we share? It's good for us to be here, but it is hard to be fully present in our lives when it's all that we can do to just make it to the weekend. My weekend starts a little earlier than yours and ends a little earlier, but I still do it too. It's hard when you live from vacation to vacation. 2 weeks in the Outer Banks cannot begin to untangle the mess we make the rest of the year. Living for the wrong things, focusing on the wrong things, dwelling on the wrong things, We need daily inspiration to see our lives and the lives of others as the beloved things that they are. We get home from school or work or practice. We fall into a chair, but there are more duties looming. You got to do your homework. You got to get up and make dinner. You've got all that work you didn't get done at the office today, but which has to be ready by tomorrow. And it's hard to remember that there's such a thing in life as wonder, as adventure, as purpose, as play. We live under the tyranny of the urgent, and it leaves little room for other things. The smell of coffee in the morning, the sun rising over the yard and the hedge, the distant song of birds who are already coming back from their winter sojourn in Guatemala. You want to tell them, guys, it's too early, it's still cold. We miss these things. They get crowded out by our routines or by our worries. There's stuff going on at school or at work. There are issues with our friends or with our family members. The house or the car or the pets always require something more from us, and the news scares us and drains us and just leaves us feeling beat up. The day wears us down. It obscures the light of the glory that we have sometimes seen in these little instances of beauty, clarity, awe. We so easily get lost down here in the petty details of our lives that we miss out on the simple goodness of having a life, of being alive, to see these lives and our world in their belovedness, in their blessedness, to see what they really are, things of beauty, things of glory. This planet has never been home to more people at once than it is today. But 2/3 of American adults, 2/3, say that they are lonely. Not that they experience feelings of loneliness from time to time, but that they are lonely. A psychologist who was also a professor gave his students an experiment that they had to come back and write a paper on. His students were told that at least once a day they had to go out and speak to a complete stranger. I hope this happened before the drop pass period where you can just quit your class, because I would have been out of there. I'm not speaking to a complete stranger every day, but this was the assignment. You had to speak to a complete stranger every day, and you had to log the encounter. You had to look that person in the eye, and you had to say, "Hi, I'm whatever your name is. Hi, I'm Brian. What's your name?" And then you were supposed to use that person's name and say to that person, "What has made you smile today?" "Hi, I'm Brian. What's your name?" "Well, hi, Jason. What has made you smile today?" "Hi, Ann. What has made you smile today?" Perfect strangers. But the results were amazing. Students reported that not one person turned away or frowned. It made everybody smile just to be seen. And many people talked for a long time, and some came around the counter and hugged them. And the psychologist explains that most people, most of the time, feel anonymous. Most people, most of the time, feel unseen. And that's maybe why we do some of the stupid things we do and some of the mean things we do, because we feel like nobody knows who we are. And it's okay to do such things, but most people go through life feeling unseen. But looking a person in the eye and using their name and asking them about a joy in their life produces little doses of dopamine and oxytocin in their brains, putting them at ease and making them feel seen and valued. And what are we looking for when we're scrolling on our phones? Or when we're playing video games? Or when we're binge watching The Pit? What are we looking for? Dopamine, maybe oxytocin. We're looking for that little thrill, that little thing that makes us feel good. And we could have these things just by being more fully present to each other. What might you be missing out on because you're just not looking? That's a serious question. Please ask it of yourself. What might you be missing out on because you're just not looking? What discovery, what friendship, what joy? How about this? The next time you get the urge to pull out your phone or put in your earbuds or binge watch The Pit, resist the temptation, turn to the person next to you, whether you know them or not, and say, "So, what has made you smile today?" Because that's a conversation, unlike "how are you?" for which everybody will pretty much have an answer, and it might be this question is what made me smile. Because it was so out of the blue. And if you can, look them in the eye and call them by name, and you'll see things in that person that you didn't know were there. We miss so much of the goodness of life because we are not looking. And yet it is good. It's good for us to be exactly where we are in our lives. Transfiguration. Just a brief moment of seeing the world as it really is and how it's meant to be, and how we hope and believe it will someday be. To see this old world transformed, and to see our own lives in all their meaning and all their connectedness and all their beauty and value. Every life is punctuated with these rare moments from time to time when we get a clear vision of what really matters and what really is good. When we see the goodness and the beauty and the worth in ourselves and in others. When we see the belovedness in the person we have always taken for granted. Let us be attentive to this belovedness in ourselves and in others. Let us be present to it. Let us name it frequently. Wherever you are on life's journey today, whoever you are, whatever you face when you go out these doors, it is good for you to be in the season of life that you are in. It's good for you to be in this place that you are. It's good for you to be in the moment at hand. It's good for us to be here, for each other and for ourselves, for God and for God's enchanting world full of birds and surely all kinds of creatures that I haven't noticed yet. Let us be more present in the days ahead. Amen.